Yo, you know what it is, your boy DJ Filthy Rich.
Yeah, it's your boy DJ Big X.
And welcome back to the We Outside Show live from Stankonia Studios, the mothership. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe all platforms at the We Outside Show. And today is a special episode, man. We want to do a tribute to a legend in not only Atlanta, but the whole music industry. He goes by the name of Rico Wade, and we're at Stankonia Studios, so it's only right that we do it from here. So I have a special guest in the building. I want y'all to make some noise for the one and only Ian Burke.
Previous guest.
Previous guest, absolutely. Yes. It's my favorite place to be.
Thank you.
It's my favorite place to be.
This your second time with us, right?
This is the second time, yeah.
Not the last. We're going to keep it going.
We're going to keep it going.
Yeah.
You know, but my boy here too, so I got to say I did his podcast too, so I can't say my favorite place. You know, right. One of my favorite places.
Right on. We love everybody, man. You know what it is.
Yeah, for sure, sure.
So I hit you the other day when I saw you, because you know, everybody is going through it about Rico, and I just thought it was only right for me to invite you on, and you had somebody like Big X. Well, y'all really knew him personally for a very long time. So I think it's just a good opportunity for us to just give him his flowers.
Absolutely.
So I thought it would be good. Everybody, on the radio shows and everything, they're playing mixes and everything about his music. And the music is everything. But I want to talk more about the person.
Right.
So what are some things that you remember about Rico?
Fast talking. Rico talk a mile a minute, boy. But when he talk, people listen. You know what I'm saying? He's just that guy that could sell ice cubes to Eskimos. You know what I'm saying? And, somebody that you believed in wholeheartedly. And you knew that he had people's best interests at heart. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you felt that, And, that's one of the things that I'll always remember about Rico.
So, how did you and Rico meet?
We met a young lady by the name of Sydney Darden, marketing rep for Polygram, Polydor. Rest in peace, Sydney Darden. She was bringing this group called the U-Boys to me. She wanted me to see this group called the U-Boys. The U-Boys consisted of Rico Wade, Patrick Sleepy Brown, Moan Murray, Marquez Etheridge, and Troy Gordon. So they were a dance troupe that were transitioning into being singers.
And this is around what time?
This is like 89, 90, around that time.
So they were a dance group.
They were fierce, because at that point, people were known for going to Jelly Beans. That was a really popular spot. You know what I'm saying? And that's where everybody went. I've never been there, to be honest, because I don't roller skate.
Right.
But everybody talked about Jelly Beans. Yeah.
You had Jelly Beans on the west side, and you had
Cascade. Golden Glide, yeah.
On the east side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you met them, what did you think? Did were you like, oh man, these boys is crazy?
No, I mean, it was like, it was just like meeting, at that time, it was just like meeting another group. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't anything spectacular about it. They were just another teenage vocal group, and I was a fledgling wannabe manager at that time. I think I was managing Arrested Development at that time.
Okay.
But I hadn't had any success at all in that field. And, so, yeah, Sydney brought him in and connected me with the guys, and somehow we just stayed in touch with each other, So our experience, and Rico watched me. Rico was watching my moves, because at that time too, he knew that I had a relationship with Dallas. Mm-hmm. I was also building a relationship with Jermaine. Mm-hmm. Rico just kept an eye on me for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? And so when I was looking to put together a female version of Belle Biv DeVoe, I hit Rico up and said, hey, do you know anybody? And he was like, man, I got this girl. She got it. I'm telling you, she's who you're looking for. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's meet her. Mm-hmm. So I go to one of their rehearsals one night. Crystal and I, the C in TLC, the former C. And Rico had brought his girlfriend at the time, Lisa. And I saw Lisa, and I tell the story a million times. I saw Lisa. I didn't like the way she was dressed because I was looking for a certain image. It wasn't that she was dressed bad. I was just looking for a certain image. And we went in the back. She stayed up front with Crystal. And then I think at that meeting was the first time I heard the song Tonight. Okay? They performed it for me. They were still the U-Boys at the time. And then Crystal comes back, says, you need to hear this girl rap. I heard Lisa rap. I said, yo, she's really dope. Like, okay, do you want to dress in baggy clothes? And yeah, I want to dress in baggy clothes. It's cool. So Rico was super adamant about me meeting this girl. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, we drive over to Tion's house, knock on her door, and, and I kid you not, I'll tell the story the same way every single time. She opened the door and I was floored. This girl just getting up, wiping the sleep out of her eye. I was like, you don't even have to sing. You're the third member. I ended up kicking a girl out of the group just to put Tion in the group. So, so that was my relationship at that time with Rico.
Now, do you know he's producing at the time, or you still just know him?
He wasn't producing.
He wasn't even doing it yet.
No. Because they were still doing the U-Boys,
like a dance group like the U-Boys.
And Ray wasn't part of the picture at that. I met Ray separately through Big Gip. Big Gip is the one who introduced me to Ray Murray. You know what I'm saying? So all of this is before he was Big Gip and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Before Goody Mob, before all of that. This was seeds that were being planted in the late 80s, early 90s. And that's how it all began. Now, fast forward to my homeless years, I was living out of my car, and I get pulled over. I get caught in those traffic stops they used to have.
Yeah, the roadblocks.
I get pulled over, and I don't have driving on a suspended license, no proof of insurance.
I got a lot of those.
And my tag's expired. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things, like, it's right off the freeway. So you can't turn around, you can't duck off.
Yeah.
So I'm on my way to the dungeon. I get arrested, and I have to spend the night in jail. And the next day, Quan Prather comes and bails me out. Took me to the dungeon, Rico Wade's, where Rico lived with his two sisters and his mama, and I never left. So Rico's deal was, all right, you're gonna manage us. That was it. It's like, okay. Now, I never got the credit for Arrested Development because, it was Michael Malden that got them their deal. Never got the credit for TLC because when I had them, they were Second Nature, and Pebbles is the one that got them the deal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But I always credit you with that because I know you was there from the beginning.
Right. So those who were in the inside,
Right.
they knew.
Right.
They knew what it was.
Right.
So Rico knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, I see how you move. So you're going to manage organized noise. All right. You're going to stay here, you stay here, you know what I'm saying? And it was kind of weird because I was the oldest one in the house.
Yeah.
And Beatrice didn't like that. Miss Wade didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? She didn't like that. You're like, what?
Yeah, I heard his mama was a tough cookie.
She is still a tough cookie. You know what I'm saying? But she was just looking out for her family.
Like she's supposed to.
Like she's supposed to. You got all these young men, teenage men, standing there. You got your two sisters that are in that house, two baby sisters. But the bottom line of it is everybody in that room was respectable, which meant that those two girls, those two young ladies had about 10, 15 older brothers that would kill somebody if they even thought about touching them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the way Rico lived. That is the type of respect that he commanded. And it wasn't like, oh, we got to do this. Like, we want to do this. We want to respect dude because he's going to get us where we want to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Rico's whole thing with, as far as me managing, he just needed a figurehead. He wanted to focus on the creative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said before, he was the one pulling the strings. You know what I'm saying? I was just moving with his direction.
So with you knowing Rico like that, and then Rico becoming like the architect that you know him to be now, you know what I'm saying? When did you guys see the leadership skills in Rico?
Very beginning. From the very beginning, he was mapping things out. He was the strategist. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, you know, in an interview was like, when he saw TLC pop off, he knew that they were gonna get in, regardless. Even though they weren't on the album, he knew that they were gonna get in, and he went ahead and it got with Pebbles. Pebbles got him with LA, and the first thing that we were able to do was the TLC remix.
Christmas song, right?
No, What About Your Friends remix?
Okay.
Featuring Outkast.
Right.
And then Parental Advisory got their record deal, and we ended up doing that whole album.
Okay.
You know, PA, Parental Advisory, Quan Prather, Mello, 66 Mello, and oh my goodness, he's gonna kill me. I can't think of his name. I'm sorry. Reese, Big Reese, Big Reese. Yeah, thank you.
Big Reese, you know you're gonna be mad as
Yeah, like nigga, how you forget my name, man? What the hell going on? So, man, from the very beginning, just very strategic with what he was doing, and he'd go down there and with Ray and Pat, and they'd be banging on that and that clay, and it was just mounds of dirt in a basement where there's a chessboard that was up, and people be playing chess, and we'd just be sitting there, and they'd be going through ciphers and stuff like that. Everything that was spoken about, that was real. We lived that. You know what I'm saying? And it is great that you guys are doing it here at what's now known as Stankonia, because we came in, created the Southern Playalistic Cadillac music album here at Bosstown when Bobby Brown owned the studio.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? But every step that we did with Rico was calculated. It's strategic to help us get to a certain point.
Now moving to that first success, and I'm assuming the first success with them was the Outkast record, right? And I knew when they first started, they had some difficulty with the record. Like it didn't really just jump off at first.
No, I mean, it wasn't. Of course, we were from the South. It wasn't even accepted. We did a release party in New York, you know, and Shanti tells a story about having to coerce the DJs, Shanti Das, to play the music. Like, you know, they really didn't want to accept us.
Right.
Matter of fact, it was probably the Bay Area, I believe, that accepted Outkast first.
Yeah.
And college radio too.
Yeah, because when I was with Short, that was the first one. I was in Oakland. We was doing the Cocktails album, and that, like, when Outkast came out, everybody in Oakland had that album. And being from Atlanta and not being in Atlanta when it was released, man, it went crazy in Oakland when it came out. Like real, like everybody was riding Outkast.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think the Bay took to it?
Because of the live instrumentation, the sound. You know, Oakland was known for like a live sound too. Like a lot of the Too Short records and that stuff was 808 drum sounds and bass lines and shit that was in hip hop. Northern, like New Yorkers weren't doing that type of hip hop. Only West Coast and Southern cats was doing that kind of hip hop during that time. Like, I'll give you a prime example, like DJ Quick. When he came, nobody was doing kind of like what he was doing, putting the live instrumentation over hip hop beats. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's exactly what we were doing. Like he took the soul, and you know, we recruited a bunch of musicians, and they would come in and they would just play, and they would sample live music and just add the 808s and the drums to it and create this magic. It was genius. It's like they were sampling their own music. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's how the music was created.
So I gotta ask you, because when we started, you said that They didn't start off as producers. They started off as dancers. So when did they move? When did Rico? Because I'm saying this about Rico. When did Rico move everybody into okay, we're gonna become a production company?
I think when by the time he connected with Ray, and Patrick was already doing music as a producer songwriter. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna take this time to take the hat off on Kim. Okay. Wipe off the little sweat. You know what I'm saying?
Sweat, baby.
It's hot in here.
It's hot in here, y'all.
We're gonna get rid of Gay to get that AC on.
But yeah, I think when Ray became a part of the equation, you know what I'm saying? I can't exactly speak to that for sure because I wasn't around when they became organized. Okay. I was recruited after. So by the time Rico brought me over to the dungeon, they were already doing production. Okay. That's when they became that production team.
Right. So what is that reaction even like? Because you're telling me when you met him, they dancing, then you meet him and he's pushing, his
it was like
girl.
Because it was like an R&B group and he was pushing a girl at the time, right?
He was pushing. Well, the only reason why he was pushing her, he not as an artist, was like, well, you need girls for this group. She's here. So let me just introduce you to her because I was supposed to bring somebody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and they were R&B group at the time. So, but you're talking about, so when I came in and they were producers?
Yeah. So like your reaction is, okay, last time I saw Rico, they was dancing, they was doing, him as one thing.
Right.
And then you come in, you like, y'all are producers now?
Let me tell you, man, I was just happy to have a couch to sleep on. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll manage y'all. We're good. So I don't have to sleep in my car tonight. All right, cool. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't matter to me what they were doing, but I knew I had a job to do. So I just got to my job, signing them up with BMI, bringing a lawyer and putting their team together, lawyer, business manager, and things like that. So that the things that I wasn't supposed to do, the people who were supposed to do that, like Serena Sparks was our lawyer. I can't remember who our business manager was. They were to do what they were supposed to do, and so that much I knew. Like I knew from going to school and studying the music business that we needed a team, and I went to work putting a team together. And I knew a lot of live musicians, so I recruited a lot of the live musicians. LaMarcus Jefferson, Preston Crump, Jeff Sparks, the saxophone player, who was Serena Sparks' husband. Chance Parkman.
Ah, my boy Chance.
Yeah. So, just pulling these people in and letting them be directed by Rico, Pat, and Ray and creating that sound.
Do you remember the moment when you're in there and you're like, damn, they good at this?
Oh, yeah. It was sitting in the dungeon. It wasn't in any studio. It was sitting in the dungeon. It's just like the way they drilled Dre and Twine. You just sit like it was like a boot camp. Like, nah, that ain't it. Do it over. Write it this. Redo this. Redo that. It was a boot camp. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, these people go in the studio and they just say whatever's on the top of their mind. They weren't trying to do that. They were seeking excellence with these two rappers because they knew that they were going to have to represent. Mm-hmm. Now, who could have imagined that Outkast would become Outkast? I think that in the back of Rico's mind, he knew it, but we were all hoping for the best.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially during the temperature where music wasn't.
At that time, you know what I'm saying? At that time, West Coast was dominating.
Yeah, and the South didn't even have a face yet.
No, not at all.
Like I think
except for Uncle Luke.
He was the only face we had really that was really making noise.
Yep.
And during that time, he didn't even have no hip hop out. He had like H-Town and some other shit was really popping. It wasn't like Two Live Crew was popping.
Right.
And it still wasn't Atlanta.
No,
it wasn't Atlanta.
Right.
It was definitely Florida.
Right.
Yeah.
And Houston with H.
Yeah. So when you were doing that, like when you guys first got that first success, what was it? What was the first successful? Like when the first success came in, when y'all was like that. Now we know we made it.
Players Ball.
Okay.
Players Ball. When we did Players Ball, first of all, it was it was not the easiest thing to get Players Ball done.
Right.
Because LA wanted to put the Boyz on a Christmas album, and they just thought that was super corny. Now, when
But
Rico...
it did come out on the Christmas album.
They did,
Yeah.
but they didn't want to.
Right.
Now, the thing was when Rico said, all right, you're managing us, so now you're also going to manage Outkast, right? And again, that's just Rico pulling strings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, you're going to be the front person. So it's like, all right, cool. And so I'm going to Rico, so we have to do this Christmas album. So, all right, tell the boys. Like, you want me to tell them? Yeah, you got to tell them.
Yeah.
You the manager.
You the
You the
guy.
manager.
You the bad guy.
Bad guy.
So I had to sit there and basically talk them into, okay, we got to do this. You don't have to talk about, reindeer or anything like that. Just talk about what y'all talk about. And then Rico, Ray, and Pat cemented it by, coming up with the track for Players Ball. You know what I'm saying? And, Puffy did the first video.
Did they go to the flavor camp?
No.
Okay.
No.
No flavor camp.
Even that though, right? I always thought that was such a cool thing that of all the people in the world that directed their first video, it ends up being Puff.
And B Diddy. Yep.
But Puffy at the time was so hot.
And he loved Atlanta too, though.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
He working on planting his flag here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and when, it got put on the record, and then when we heard it blaring all over the airwaves and stuff like that, and then it spent 6 weeks at #1. Its first, because they just started the hip-hop trap, the rap tracks.
Yeah, on Billboard.
On Billboard.
Yeah.
And we spent 6 weeks at #1, and we were just like, all right, we're in.
Right.
We're in. But that just presented a bigger challenge because that was a single.
Yeah, you gotta
now we
follow
had
up.
to go
Now you
and
got to
create
follow
it.
up with it, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what that conversation was like with LA. Follow up.
LA had to let me say
'Cause
LA
I know Rico used to give him hell.
LA didn't want to sign Outkast. He was not interested in signing Outkast.
Wow.
Even after Players Ball?
No. Before Players Ball.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say.
He didn't want to sign Outkast. So it was almost like, for me, it was like a slap in the face that we had to do a Christmas song anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So LA didn't want to sign Outkast, but he loved Organized Noise. So he was like, if this is what you want to do, right? Do this Christmas song. Christmas song ends up being a success.
Right. But now let me ask you this. It's
the biggest record on there.
Did they make 2 edits of that record, or did they keep the
No.
original record that was on the Christmas record? Was that the single that played out the whole time?
No, they made 2 edits.
Okay.
Well, after the Christmas season, we had to make another edit because
See, I always wondered that because I knew when I first got it, the Christmas version didn't sound like the regular version that came out.
No, because all the players came from far and wide. Afros and Braves with them against the ride. Now I'm here to tell you, there's a better day when the play ball is happening on Christmas Day, right?
Yeah.
And then they changed it to all day and a day.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they did things with the vocals, changed the lyrics a little bit, and that's how I was able to continue on after the Christmas season.
You know how dope it probably would be to actually hear the Players Ball Christmas version?
It's on streaming.
Is
It says it too. It says Christmas version. I promise you.
And
The reason I know that because I saw it yesterday.
And they never played this record during Christmas time.
Never. I think it went over people's heads that it's a Christmas song. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
I
a
mean, for the
casual
most
listener,
part, yeah.
which was so dope about the song, right? Because it's like, you're not thinking nothing about Christmas when you hear this song.
But I think that's what made the record fly.
It
Was
is.
that it was the whole content of the record. And that's why I always say, like with rappers, like they should worry about the content. The content is what people are really listening to.
Right.
And if everything is the same thing every time you put something out, you're gonna get the same result. That's why when you hear that record, that's why I knew they had 2 versions of it. The Christmas version, then they had the regular version.
Yeah.
And the Christmas version is still just as hard as the regular version.
But that's what makes him a mastermind too, right? Because you said that was him. Like he came up with probably, I'm assuming the hook too, right?
Well, between him and Sleepy Brown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that hook sound like Sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so for you to go in the studio and say, all right, we're gonna make a Christmas song, but this is the hook.
Right. You have him singing like Curtis Mayfield.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So being the manager during that time and dealing with Rico, right? And I know how difficult it was to get records played in New York.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like in that meeting at L.A. with Willa Face, and y'all preparing to put these records out, and you having this meeting with this staff, and y'all, and you know the type of success y'all coming. L.A. is just coming off of TLC. He had some success with, I think, was Tony out yet? I don't
Tony was the Boomerang. I believe.
Boomerang had just came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what was those meetings like? Was it intense, or was it like a we just gonna go with the flow?
I think a little bit of both. I think L.A. trusted what Organized Noise wanted to do, and especially Rico.
Mm-hmm.
There was a level of trust there because the single did so well, and L.A. was very open about the fact that he didn't know hip hop. That was not his field.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we had a track record to go by those. You know what I'm saying? We had a hit record. Now let's see how far we can go with this situation. You know what I'm saying? So that was the thought process, it's hard for somebody like Ellis, your record company, and you don't know this music, you know what I'm saying? But you still want to be like, okay, this is the single, we should go with this, we should go with that. But he found himself, having to listen to the guys because he felt that they knew the music and they knew the culture. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't the New York culture, it wasn't the LA culture,
right.
It was the culture that was being formulated here
In Atlanta. Right.
that we were all building at that time. You know what I'm saying? So and I say y'all because we still, like, Outkast paved the way, but we also had groups like Y'all So Stupid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The King and I and things like that.
Too Crazy.
Right. That Dallas was doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, we were trying to build a hip hop community that was strictly Atlanta.
You did it.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, I think even when it came through that music, it was just cutting edge. Especially for South, because we didn't have a sound. I think everything during that time was just like all party records.
Right.
Everything was party. So I think the gem to what they did was like, let's give the South a voice. Let's give them an identity. And I think when they did that, everybody at that, because during that time we was always country. It was, them country niggas. Everybody listened to them country. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of like the general thing about hip hop from the South.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even when the Ghetto Boys was popping, they was always them country motherfuckers from the South.
right.
When Outkast came, it had a different tone.
Mm-hmm.
It had and when I'm telling you this, like, and I'm telling you again, I'm in Oakland. I'm with Too Short at the time. We working on Cocktails. He went crazy. When I seen him go crazy, it made me go, damn, I know them. I know them for real. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it really made me look at Rico at that time, Rico and Ray, because me and Sleepy was cool, but I really knew Rico and Ray.
And Ray.
And Ray was more like a beatsmith.
Mm-hmm.
And Rico, I know he was kind of like the architect. I didn't really know what Rico actually did in the studio.
You got it right. He was the architect. He was the conductor.
Yeah,
he was the Quincy Jones.
Yeah, he was the one that was giving the direction.
Right. He was the Diddy of the South.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's why I kind of, he always talked fast and he kind of stuttered a little bit.
Right.
So I just always looked at him and I was like, motherfucker, they gonna do something, because I said you have 3 minds in the studio at one time, so you can't go wrong because you can bounce off of each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when they did it, it was like, I always looked at it like it was like hip hop mixed with like real funk and
soul.
Funk and soul shit. Like, cause like Ray was always like, people don't know this. Like, even from if you go back and listen to the Parental Advisory album, you can kind of hear the growth of them as producers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you can hear like they went from what they learned and what they went through with the Parental Advisory album, and then from that you hear okay, now we know what the fuck we doing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
we don't have to be like everybody else, because the Parental Advisory album was more of had more of a New York slant to it.
Right.
That's
what we was trying to find our identity.
We were trying to find our
when you talk
identity.
about, like, I did Y'all So Stupid. So it was like Atlanta didn't have an identity. So to get signed back then, you had to either sound like you was from there or have some type of association with New York to either get signed. So when Outkast them came, that's why I say they were the guys who really gave, as far as rap in Atlanta, they gave. I mean, Sade was always a rapper out of Atlanta that people knew.
Right.
But universal wise, Outkast was the guys who really put the face on Atlanta.
Right.
Well, and it's human nature too as an artist, right? You're gonna sound like who you listen to and who you look up to. At the time, y'all was probably just listening to the New York MCs anyway. So
Well, I mean, that was the great thing about Atlanta. Atlanta was a melting pot. Like when you listen to the radio, we only listened to the radio on Friday night, so it wasn't like we had a variety
Yeah,
of shit to listen to. So,
Yeah, they weren't playing it like that.
Shout out to Randall and Talib. They had a show that they did on Saturday. I think it was on Sunday night.
Yep.
That was the only hip hop where he listened to hip hop on Friday
For the
night.
whole week.
For 2 hours. I think it came on from 10 to 12. That was the fresh party. And then you had Randall Moore and Talib. They came on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So and that was the only hip hop you had.
Man, I couldn't even imagine.
So, but when they play in Atlanta, we listen to everything. We listen to West Coast. We listen to Ghetto Boys. We listen to all the shit that came out of New York. So it was kind of like a melting pot. So for us, during that time we was trying to develop our own sound, we had to bring all of that and put it in the pot.
Yeah.
And once we put everything in the pot, everybody tried a little bit of everything. And what came out is what Rico and them went and mastered. They was the ones who went in there and said, okay, we tried all this shit, that didn't work. Now let's try this.
Yeah.
But let's crafting the music and the style is one thing, and I definitely don't want to take any credit away from Dre and Twine because they were master wordsmiths, both of them.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That they just would go in there and just kill it with their subject matters and the things that they were talking about on the records, and they kept it about the South. They didn't talk about anything that they didn't know nothing about. They talked about the South.
Right.
And that they were proud about it. Like, y'all either going to accept this or, don't listen to it.
And I'm talking about they put the twang, the slang, and everything into it. And that's
Hootie-hoo.
Right. Yeah. So all of that was us. That was us in the South. So in a nutshell. So when you think about that, right, and you move forward after the success, now you're talking about years later. You're talking about like they've gotten Grammys. They've won the album of the year, and now you've seen the level of success. How did the relationship grow for y'all during that time?
Well, the one thing again that Organized Noise did that was different from a lot of other up-and-coming production companies and things like that. First of all, they didn't take no publishing, and they allowed their artists to grow because by ATLians, Earth Tone 3 had formed. That was Big Boy, Dre, and Mr. DJ.
Okay.
They took over a lot of production on that situation.
And that was ATLians, right?
Yep, ATLians, and that began to progress. Rico allowed them to grow. Organized Noise allowed them to grow. A lot of people don't, because they're looking at the publishing aspect of it. It's like, no, we got to,
They had been super rich if they had some of that.
Exactly. So they didn't have the publishing, and they let them produce their own songs, and it's like
that was great. Because during that time, most of the time, like if you had a production deal, you kind of handle most of
the production.
Yeah, so
you maybe do one or two records.
Yeah.
I think on ATLians, I think they damn near did half of the album.
Really?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, they did quite a number of songs. Earth Tone 3 did.
On the ATLians.
On the ATLians.
But was Rico them doing the ATLians album under the production contract that they had?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was still under Organized Noise Productions.
Wow, and they still let the guys eat?
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing.
And see, and that's
for that shit.
That is what separated these guys from everyone else, man, and that is why, because they didn't have to do that.
They didn't have to do that. No.
You know what I'm saying?
No one would have done that.
No.
But them.
Not in modern day business.
Right. So, yeah, man,
you have to salute for a guy to give. They actually gave and poured into him. You know what I mean? So that's why I say when you look at people now, they talk about the legacy of Rico. That's why he has a legacy, because he could have been he could have took publishing. He could have took
all of that.
So just imagine how him doing that allowed those guys to grow as just being artists. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times when you start, and we've seen it, once artists find out the business side of what, and then if it's all bad, that just killed him as an artist.
But as you saw, they grew with each one of their albums and became hip hop royalty.
Yeah.
Now, had Rico and them not allowed them to grow as producers, there'd be no Hey Ya.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because even for the album that they won for the year, album of the year for, I look back at that and I go, wow, just what they learned from Ray, what they learned from Rico, what they learned from Pat.
Yep.
It all combined into them getting that Grammy that year. Like when I listened to that album and I listened to the production that Dre did on that album, not the rapping,
Right.
the production.
Production.
He was playing instruments. He played piano. He did a lot on that album. So just from that going, man, this guy came in as a rapper, and look at what he learned from these guys.
Right. My only regret about that was Organized wasn't on that as producers on that project. I think that's the only album that they were not on.
Oh, okay.
The one where they won.
That was the double album.
Grammy, yeah.
Yeah. But one day on the Big Boy album? Speaker Box?
I don't think so. I don't think they were on either side. I don't think they were on either side.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought they was at least on the Speaker Box side. Because I know Dre did every song on his side. Love Below.
So outside of the music, I do want to just go back to Rico, the person.
Yeah.
Right? So you've already touched on what type of person he is, because again, it's like, damn, all right, I could take y'all publishing, but I wouldn't because, I rock with y'all. What is a story that, give me a story, like a personal story that you've never told before about Rico to give people, some insight into what type of person he is.
So, a good businessman, but he still was street. You know what I'm saying? He still was Atlanta.
It wasn't street, he was Atlanta.
He was Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? And I'll never forget this. Like, there was some drama that went down, with some folks, and they were all jumping in the cars, right? And, ain't no street bone in my body. Not even an Atlanta bone, man. I'm the biggest geek there is, but I'm ripping everybody. Yeah, we gonna go do this, we gonna go do that. And I'm running outside, and Rico looks at me. And mind you, I'm 6 years older than Rico.
Right.
And Rico says, get your ass back in the house, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going nowhere. Sit your ass back down in that house. You ain't going nowhere. And they drove off in my car.
It took your car?
It took my car.
To go take care of some business.
Go handle some business. You know what I'm saying? But that, I say it's funny to me because Rico always looked out. You know what I'm saying? He was my little big brother. You know what I'm saying? He just cared. He always had to, protect me from his mom because his mom just hated the fact that I was the age I was and I was still sleeping in there with these younger guys, and why am I not out there?
Grown ass man.
I was a grown ass man, so 25 years old. What are you doing, sleeping up in here with these kids? What are you, but Rico had me working, you know what I'm saying? So
Rico had the vision.
Rico had the vision, exactly, but he had to come in and he had to be like, Mom, I got this, it's cool, he's straight, he's doing what he needs to do. So, Rico was just, and for him to just take me in, like he didn't have to do that either. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to do that either. He had a plan, he had a strategy, but it worked out for both of us. So the Rico the man, outside of music, man, was a generous, giving individual. He wasn't perfect,
Nobody is.
Nobody is, man. Nobody. But he didn't want to take anything that wasn't his. He wanted to give credit to it. And he continued that. Like, you watch these interviews, and one particular interview that he did and was talking about, Tion and Lisa and how he brought them to me, but he was saying, but it was Ian's vision. Ian did that, but it was me too. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is like he was quick to give people their props, their credits. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the type of guy he was.
Is Rico the only person who publicly gave you your flowers? Like, I feel like...
No.
Okay.
I have to say Jermaine Dupri regularly gives me flowers when he has the opportunity to.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Jermaine often speaks about the things that I've done for him or with him in the business. You know what I'm saying? So I have to say that Jermaine is another one of those type of guys.
Good. So this brings us up to like present day, right? So when you think about Rico, right? And I'm thinking about Rico because I used to always see him at the Falcons game. We heavy, big Falcons fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did you start seeing his health was getting bad?
You know what? And see, and that's herein lies the issue with me. I did not know that Rico's health was going bad. As a matter of fact, it wasn't until his death that I found out that a few months ago he had triple bypass heart surgery.
Right.
You
'Cause I
understand?
found out I guess, from being around the studio.
Right.
I kind of found out he had started having some health issues, but I didn't know he had a heart attack either, or had a bypass surgery, or
Right.
anything like that.
Right.
So when you found out, did it? Because I never seen, I never seen an unhealthy Rico.
No, neither have and when I got my proclamations, and I got my Ian Burke Day, Rico and his fiance at the time came out to support me
Okay.
and tell stories of how we rocked back in the day.
Right.
And then the next time that I spoke to Rico was at his wedding to his fiance Debbie, and that was it. Like, and we don't live far from each other. That's the sad part, and that's the reason why it's like, we gotta check up on you. Just you take
never know
for
what's
granted.
going- yeah.
You never know. So he's suffering and going through this stuff. I had no idea.
Right.
No idea. I've never seen him sick or anything like that.
Because every time I seen Rico, he always had a smile, and he always was telling you about what he was about to do next.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they told me he was sick, it just caught me off guard. I'm like, Rico? And ever since it happened, I remember waking up that morning and seeing your post. And you didn't really give a whole lot of description.
I didn't want to be the one to announce it. You
So,
know what I'm saying?
all I thought was when I seen your post was, my God, what happened? You know what I'm saying? And then I scrolled down. I think I went to Instagram, and I seen on Killer Mike page.
Right.
And then when I came back to Facebook and read your message again, that's when I said, "Man, I hope he okay." I think I might have called. I think I called a text or something like, "Are you okay?"
Ray called me. Ray called me at 7:00 in the morning. Which is unusual for Ray. Because when I see him, I'm usually here for New Music Mondays, and he's working. You know what I'm saying? So we chop it up and everything. And I was like, why is he calling me so early? But it's like, all right, my brother, maybe he's checking in on me. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he said that that Rico wasn't with us anymore. And that was it, man. There's so many things that, I would want to say, and I'll never get a chance to say to Rico. And all of that came rushing in at one time, and I spent the whole day. I spoke to Marquez after that. I called Marquez. And, it was hard. And I immediately went to not thinking. When I did that post, I wasn't thinking. I was sitting there, and tears were falling out of my eyes, and I was like, God, I need you now. I need you now, because I don't understand. Why Rico?
Right.
You understand? Because again, I didn't know that he was going through all of this.
Right.
So I'm like, well, but he left his legacy though, man. His job is done.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Job well done.
Job well done.
Job
highest
well
level.
done.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, you left a lasting legacy for this city. Like, we have everything to thank you for.
No doubt.
You understand what I'm saying? And that's not to take anything away from Dallas, Jermaine, LA, or Babyface, or anybody else that came after them. All I'm saying is, if there wasn't a Rico Wade and Organized Noise, I don't think there would be an Atlanta as we know it today.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying? We would be somewhere in there, but it wouldn't be as we know it today.
Yeah, correct.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Salute to the whole
Salute.
Organized Noise and the whole dungeon.
salute. And I'm proud. Like, I would have never thought that, you know, being arrested and being adopted with the crew and being the babysitter of a bunch of grown ass men, you know what I'm saying, would have led to this particular journey. You know what I'm saying? And props out to, let me say, shout out to Goody Mob, man.
Yeah,
Big Gip.
like he left a
Cujo.
legacy. When
Yeah.
you talk about legacy, we talked about Outkast, but
Yeah.
we talk about Goody Mob.
Goody Mob,
We talk
absolutely.
about what's my man name?
Cool Breeze.
Cool Breeze.
Yep. Witch Doctor. Yep.
Backbone.
Yep.
Who else? Big Rube.
Big Rule. Yep.
I want, man. It's some other people that was hanging around.
Society of Soul.
Yeah,
You know what
bunch
I'm
of
saying?
people, you know what I'm saying?
And then we got to talk about Future. He
Right.
learned from the dungeon.
Meathead.
Yeah, me here. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like when you think about the things that were touched by Organized Noise, all the way down to today, there's no way that you can deny that he left an indelible mark.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not just in Atlanta, not just in this country, but worldwide. Because again, there would be no TLC if it wasn't for Rico Wade.
Right. Yeah, and I think
Facts.
that's the thing that like it kind of gets me. We kind of limit him to being an Atlanta legend.
Right.
But he's so much bigger than,
He's bigger than
than the
that.
Atlanta legend.
The In Vogue record was incredibly
Right.
big.
Yup.
Incredibly big.
Right. So that's why I say his legacy is bigger than Atlanta. I think we pigeonhole him when we say
Yeah.
Atlanta.
That's right.
Because his legacy, I mean, he put a lot of
Lot of folks on.
lot of folks on it. He made a lot of benchmark records.
Can we talk about the record of one of the top records of the century, Waterfalls?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? According to Rolling Stone, it's one of the top records of the century.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Also, shout out to Mister. They were Dungeon Family.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Lil Will. And listen, Escape learned the remix to Tonight. And I had them going around the city singing the a cappella version of Tonight that was an original U-Boy song that Marquez Etheridge wrote. That led to Jermaine. When Jermaine signed them,
Too far.
they ended up putting that a cappella version on the record with LaMarcus Jefferson playing bass, and and Organized Noise did another record on that album. Their outreach has been incredible. You know what I'm saying? And I'm proud to have been a part of the first generation Dungeon family, and I'll always be a part of the family.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
But look what that legacy even did. So a lot of people, we talk about what they did a long time ago, right? But Killer Mike just got the Grammy.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, we ain't
Oh
even
my
talking
God!
about
We
the
didn't even
three
talk
Grammys.
about the
three
sweep.
Grammys, yeah. Come on,
You know what I'm saying? The sweep.
The sweep.
The sweep heard around the world. Come
Yeah.
on now. And I just saw Mike was here working with Ray on Monday.
Yeah, Monday, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. We just talked about the Grammys too. Like we were just talking about how, how he had a real body of work.
Right.
You know, and I think, when we think about music now, we don't think about a body of work. Everybody just puts out projects.
Right.
So Mike actually went in and did what we would consider old school, OG.
Right.
Consider a real body of work from the start to the end of the album. It was conceptually built.
And you could tell that approach, Rico had to have some.
Absolutely.
Come on.
I mean,
Down by Law record.
but he learned that from seeing how Organized Noise did albums prior to. So he learned from that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was there. He was there. He was in the mix.
Yeah. So to have that foundation and then it builds up to something that's still so recent.
Yes.
You can't beat it.
You cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot. You know, so yeah, Rico Wade will always be remembered.
Yeah.
And always be talked about and always be considered a major architect of the Atlanta music sound.
Oh, no doubt, he definitely will. It's crazy because like when we were coming up, when we were all coming up doing this shit back in the early '90s, you know, it was all competition. We always,
Yeah.
everybody was trying to,
Outdo
everybody
each
was
other.
trying to,
Yeah.
everybody was trying to get on. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny now to look back at it now and see the legacy that organized noise became. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I remember, you know, during that time they wasn't even considered they wasn't even a part of what was going on. You had Jermaine.
You had Jermaine and Dallas.
But they were there, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like they wasn't there. They was there, but to see the legacy, what they created after that, you know what I'm saying, is just amazing. You know what I'm saying? And I have to commend my man Ray, and you know, may he rest in peace, Rico Wade and Sleepy. You know what I'm saying? Great job, man. Job well done, guys. And I know just knowing that the guys that they're not finished yet. So.
Nah. I think this is gonna lead to something bigger. You know what I'm saying? I'm mad that the art of organized noise has totally disappeared from streaming services because that's a very telling situation about the crew and what we went through back in the day. I'm hoping that one of the things that I would love to do is do a screening in his honor, you know, of the art of organized noise. But more importantly,
what would you have to do to put that together?
Orlando is the one who has that footage at this point, that I believe, because I believe that they were still trying to shop and get it on another platform.
Okay.
But I think that we have the makings of an Atlanta version of Straight Outta Compton. You know, straight from the deck. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to call it, but you know, because of his influence back then and all the way today to the Grammy sweep, you know what I'm saying? We have a story that needs to be told.
Yeah,
a
no
scripted
doubt.
story that needs to be told.
Yeah, and it should be told. Because it played a major part of the music.
Absolutely.
Major part of the music scene for the last 20, 30 years?
Yes.
Going on now, what, almost 40?
40 years.
Yeah.
Almost.
We almost there, right?
I know this is like, it's not quite 40 because this is my 40th year here in Atlanta. I moved here in 1984. In October would be 40 years for
You
me.
was doing music in '89, so you've been doing what, 6 years?
No, you know what? No,
6 years shy of that?
No, I started music in '85. The following year.
No, I'm saying when you came here, you started doing music in '88, '89. You said you found them in '88, '89.
Right, yeah.
You in '86.
And '84.
'84. Okay, so it ain't too far off.
No,
You ain't too far off the 40 mark.
Right.
Well, speaking of that, I do want to say, you know, to everybody watching, like they said, they didn't even know Rico was sick. So just to everybody out there, and this applies to me and everybody up here, like health is wealth too. So, you know, we have to make sure as black men that we take care of ourselves. I'm speaking to myself too. We have to make sure that we take care of our health.
and we have to check on
your
each
people.
other.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
You do.
And sometimes I like when I pop up here, I just come up here to see y'all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking.
Yeah, because you know, sometimes I always ask you, I go, well, Ian, what's up? What you in here for? You like, I just came to see what y'all up to.
Exactly.
Yeah, check it in.
You know, I'm just checking in, man. You know, but I still need to do that more. I plan on doing it more. You know what I'm saying? Because no one knows what someone else is going through.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? We just don't know.
Man, I'm gonna tell you this. If I had my old page up before they took me off Instagram, I had this post up I used to put up all the time with a blood pressure monitor. And I say, if you're over 35 years old, every black man should have one of these. You get what I'm saying? And not because, you know, and I know most people look at it like, oh man, that's old folk shit. I don't need no blood pressure. But listen, most black men have high blood pressure.
Hypertension,
And that comes from what we eat.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So most of us are walking around blood pressure 140 over 90, 140 over 100. Don't even know we had stroke levels. You know what I'm saying? And then we going in the club and we adding alcohol on top of that. We ain't even not talking about the bad food, the late night food we gonna eat on top of that. So when we find out that we have, like, and I just had one of my DJs up in Chicago, he just had a stroke as well. So what I'm telling you, a lot of times we don't know these things are going on. So the only way we'll know is to take the preventive way, and that's what I'm telling you. Go buy your a blood pressure monitor so that you can monitor yourself at home and know where you at. Because a lot of times we don't know. I was walking around. I remember when I found out I had a heart attack at 45. I didn't even know I was walking around borderline stroke.
Wow.
Every day, but I'm going out getting drunk every day.
Mm-hmm. No, I got my
one day for me to stroke.
Right.
One day, stroke. Changed my life for the rest of my life.
And it should.
And God blessed me to not have that experience. So once I went through that experience, I said from that experience right there, whether people think I'm lame or not, I'm going to make sure I go out of my way to tell other black men, hey, man, get your blood pressure monitor so you can monitor your blood pressure.
Absolutely. I have one at the house. I have one at the house.
As lame as you may think it is, it's best to know than to not know.
I'd rather be alive and lame than dead.
And then you got to go and get yourself checked out. Like, I have congenital heart failure.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I haven't had a stroke or a heart attack, thank God.
Yeah.
Because I went and got myself checked out.
Mm-hmm.
I also have hypertension.
Yeah.
I'm a diabetic because I'm a
diabetic
sweet
too.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, these things I have to take medication every day to make sure that I keep that in check.
Man. See, like, and I tell people always go, well, why you been, why you don't drink? Like, why you don't drink? I've been talking about almost 5 years, but that's because I became a diabetic. And when I became a diabetic, I understood, like, damn, I was like, I don't really eat a lot of candy, especially when I was drinking, but the sugar, the liquor turns into sugar. And I was drinking so much fucking liquor that I didn't even understand the amount of sugar my body was intaking with the liquor, bro.
DJ life.
Yeah, and think about it like this: most DJs, especially if you work in a strip club in Atlanta, we start drinking at if your shift start at 8, you drinking from 8 to
8:01.
from 8 to
8:01.
You get what I'm saying? And that's the sad part about it. And that's why I say, as black men, we have it extra bad on top of the stress that we go through every day with just life itself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's best, like you say, go get yourself checked. And I know when Stacey, when you see this, I'm gonna go get myself checked, boo. I promise you. Listen, we gotta go do that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I haven't been checked. I do my yearly check, but I got some other things going on. I need to go be checked now. But I'm telling you, man, health is wealth.
Yes, sir.
I'm back on my training for my Peachtree Road race. So I'm
okay.
What I got going on, we'll straighten all that out by then.
Yeah, I ain't running with you, but I'm gonna have a sign that say "Go X" on the side.
I did it last year in an hour and 20 minutes, right? So I ain't trying to win it, you know.
Right, you just want to complete
I definitely want to do it better than my time last year.
Okay.
So I want to do 6 miles in under an hour. I want to walk from Lenox Square Mall to Piedmont Park in under an hour.
Yeah.
All right.
We rooting for you, dog.
All right.
Yeah, we will. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
we gonna be on the side.
Look, I said I'm gonna have my sign. That's about it. But our producer's wrapping us up. We out of time. I do want to thank Ian Burke for coming through. I want to thank Big X. This was a tribute episode to the one and only Rico Wade. And, I'm not big on funerals. I'm big on celebrating life, man. So we would just want to, celebrate his life, tell some good stories, and let him know that, we appreciate everything he's done in the music business and just as a man in general.
Yeah, we're rejoicing right now.
Yeah.
There is no sadness.
Absolutely.
There is no sadness. We're rejoicing a life very well lived.
Yes.
And I said this before we go. I said he lived life he did it his way.
That's right.
He did it his way. So if you did it your way and you live life on your own accord, it's nothing to be sad about.
Absolutely.
You won.
I agree.
That's the win.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, man. It's the We Outside Show. It's your boy DJ Filthy Rich.
Hey, it's your boy DJ Big X.
And the one and only Ian Burke. R.I.P. Rico Wade.
Yeah.
Shout out to the whole Dungeon family, all of his family, friends, extended family, fans. Salute. See you next time.